Hey guys, this is Ivan from Key Toronto Real Estate, your Lower East Side real estate specialist, and today I'm interviewing a fantastic human being, Raed, who is an owner of Ortus Property Management, and they specialize specifically in Airbnb. And Raed, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure, thank you for having me. And we are a full service property management company for Airbnb. We provide the whole spectrum of services from A to Z, so all the way from the time the guest books, guest communication, cleaning, scheduling, maintenance matters, minor issues, and basically we make the whole process smooth for both the owners as well as the guests.
Mm-hmm. And how did you start? Was there a demand in the market? How did you start with it?
Well, honestly, it started with my own property. Mm-hmm. So what happened is I listed it, and amazingly, it was fully booked the first month.
For Airbnb?
Yes.
Okay.
And I ran it for like 3 or 4 months, and we learned a lot of things during this period. And I thought if I can do it very well for myself, I can do it also for others. Mm-hmm. So this is the time where we set up Ortus Property Management to provide this full service for owners who would like to consider short-term rental.
And how long you been in business for?
For the last 3 years.
Okay, great. And so, in terms of property management, what kind of differences there are when it comes to short-term rentals and long-term rentals?
Well, basically, when you're talking about short-term rentals, it's operational intensive. So there's a lot of operations in it. So, with 5 to 7 turnovers per month. Mm-hmm. So we're going through the whole process of, guests coming in, moving out, and the other guests coming in, and so forth. So it takes a lot of coordination mm-hmm. between the different teams to smoothly run this operation. Besides, we have to take, maintenance into consideration. Maintenance, not major items, it's small items like, for example, if you're changing a light bulb, toilet handle, these have to be done in a very speedy manner. Otherwise, you cannot rent it because your property has to be in its best shape to be able to rent it out short term.
Can you tell me what are the common fears there are regarding owning an Airbnb?
Yeah, basically, I don't know if I'll call it a fear or a misconception. So one of the key things that owners are kind of wary about is the guest eventually causing damages to their property. Mm-hmm. However, we find that those guests who are coming for 3 nights or 1 week, these people are not coming to stay in the unit. They just come to crash at night and then leave early in the morning to do whatever they come to do, and they don't even use your appliances, so they're not here to cook. I mean, most of them. So on the contrary, so to preserve your furniture and your appliances, actually short-term rental will make these items last much longer than what it would be if it was a long-term lease.
And would you say that because of your involvement in the unit, and you're there 4, 5, 6 times, sometimes not yourself, but your team is there 4, 5, 6 times a month, sometimes more, any deficiencies can be reported right away?
Yes, of course. So with every turnover, we have a checklist, and anything that doesn't look right has to be reported. Mm-hmm. And it will be tackled immediately, and within a few hours, the place is ready, to receive the next guest. So any minor items are quickly resolved, and the property is in its best shape at all times. And so this is one of the key things that is actually an advantage for Airbnb versus a long-term lease.
So you're actually saying that the short-term will have less wear and tear on your property.
Absolutely.
Huh.
Yes.
What kind of so how's it different from if I had a long-term tenant?
Well, usually the long-term tenant stays longer in the unit every day, so the wear and tear on your furniture is, at a faster rate. Your appliances are being used all day long. But I mean, when it's on Airbnb, maybe the appliances are used 5% of the time instead of all the time versus a long-term tenant. So
that's one misconception shattered. Do you have any other concerns from the side of investors?
some of the concerns is potentially guests causing noise in the place, but this is something that we tackle as a management company. So we make sure we screen guests very well. We read their past reviews. We ask them several questions before we even accept their booking. So we also ask them to comply by the rules of the house. So once they acknowledge that, then it's time to book. So this, significantly diminishes the potential of, noise coming out of that unit.
Yeah, so that's another. Yeah, that's basically the most two common
Yeah.
concerns that I'm hearing from my clients as well when we talk about potentially releasing it out to Airbnb. And what's the future of Airbnb in Toronto? What do you think?
I think it is growing, it's stable and growing for a key reason, which is the demographics. There's a lot of people coming to Toronto and the GTA in general. And these people, whether they're landed immigrants or employees coming from other provinces, normally cannot afford a hotel stay, and an Airbnb is an excellent choice for them for the short term until they're set up and they find their long-term place.
Any predictions on what's going to be any regulation changes regarding this industry?
Well, of course, we always have to comply by the city's rules with this regard. So we advise our clients to comply by the rules, and at the time, when the rules come up and when they're going to be enacted, it will be taken at the time, and it will be, we will have to abide by it. The rules are quite, they understand the importance of Airbnb, and they will take that into consideration when they come up.
And so you live in Regent Park?
I live in Cabbagetown.
Cabbagetown, yeah, that's right. So in the past few years, have you noticed any difference in the community and in the neighborhood all around?
Yeah, I mean, the whole neighborhood is growing. New high-rise buildings are coming, so it's becoming a more dense area. And technically, you're in downtown, so there's a lot of need, for accommodation in this neighborhood and, downtown east as well.
And do you think that Airbnb is a good choice or not so good choice in terms of a property that is located in Cabbagetown or Lower East Side?
Toronto, downtown Toronto specifically, and the GTA in general, there's a huge demand from the end users or the guests for Airbnbs or short-term rentals, and accordingly that reflects on the supply side, which is the owners and the hosts, so to say. So it's growing and it's maintaining its growth basically.
In terms of learning new things, working in your industry, have you learned anything about specifically Lower East Side of Toronto?
Yeah, I mean, in general, when you're in downtown, you learn a lot of things. From the guest perspective, they know, the best places, the gems in the neighborhood, the best restaurants, parks, and so forth. So most of the time guests are amazing, and a lot of times they would suggest to the host or to the owner, what are good places to recommend for future guests. So a lot of learning goes through, and sometimes owners are not aware of excellent venues in their neighborhoods, which the guests actually tell them about. And it becomes a fact that the owner relays to the next guest. So, in general, it's a very, it has the personal touch, and the owners can really communicate with the guests, and everyone can benefit the other in terms of knowing what is best in that neighborhood.
So it becomes kind of a shared knowledge across all of all the people who are staying at Airbnb. That's fantastic. So, who are your customers? Who do you usually engage with?
So our customers are basically property owners who are open to short-term rentals. Once they call us, they fill up a small form with the basic details about the property. We then arrange a visit and then discuss with them the details, and technically in a couple of days they're good to go and they can have their property managed on Airbnb.
So if I wanted to run an Airbnb in my property, what are the steps I need to take to make it marketable and be to be up to standard for Airbnbs?
Well, you have to have a well-maintained property. If it's furnished, it's great. If it's not, we provide that service for you as well. So we take the whole process from A to Z, depending on what are the specific needs to have this this listing onboarded to be able to receive guests.
That's great. And so, what is the main drive behind owning Airbnb versus owning a long-term rental?
Okay, so the key thing is people. When you get to meet several people, and there are many interesting people that you host at your place, and sometimes you establish long-term friendships with these guests. And of course, the other key factor is your pricing flexibility. So basically, you can expect to earn 1.5 times up to 2.5 times the long-term lease when you are listing short-term.
So that means if long-term I could rent my place for $2,000, you're saying it could go up to 4.5,
4.5 or 5.5, depending on the season as well.
Wow.
So yes, this is a huge flexibility that's a pure benefit to the owner. Aside from from what we previously talked about, you kind of preserve your furniture, your appliances, because they're not fully used to the maximum. So these are the key advantages of having your place rented short term.
And what do your customers love the most about working with you?
Well, quality management. So we make sure that we have speedy feedback both to owners and to guests. So all stakeholders get our prompt feedback, and when you are prompt, you gain business. So guests tend to book more quickly when you reply to them quickly. Otherwise, they might book somewhere else. And of course, owners who are concerned, they would be very happy when you reply to them on the spot for any concern they might have.
That's fantastic. And in terms of specifically Lower East Side of Toronto, so I'm talking about by Lower East Side of Toronto, I mean Cabbagetown, Corktown, Moss Park, Regent Park, Canary District, Distillery District, Leslieville, St. Lawrence Market. In that area of the city, are we going to see more growth, or is it going to be more central for Airbnb owners?
So basically, growth is everywhere because it is downtown, and you always see high rises coming up. So also demand is going up. You know, downtown is a main source of jobs, so people like to live near their jobs. So growth is always here to stay, and you know, the outside is very promising. You know, for this area of downtown.
Great. Is there anything else you can add?
Well, I think for owners who are open to the concept of short-term rentals, you know, we are happy to contact them and or have them contact us and explore what possibilities they can have, whether it's in downtown Toronto or the GTA in general, where they can, you know, reap all the benefits that we talked about from this type of rental, and eventually, you know, be better off financially and more financially free.
All right, guys, if you're a property owner and you're thinking about short-term rentals, Ortus Property Management is a fantastic choice for you. You can check them out on Facebook and Instagram at Ortus Property Management, and also poke around their website at ortuspropertymanagement.com. And Raed, thank you so much for coming and
Thank you for having me.
sharing this knowledge. This has been fantastic experience, and I hope it helped everybody who's watching this. Also, if you like this video and you find this video useful, make sure you like and subscribe, tell a friend, and just spread the word all around the world about this video.